now we run into the fifth miracle in the same chapter in John. Are we in chapter 6, I think, aren't we? Now the fourth, remember, is the creation, and that's exactly what happens, isn't it? Jesus goes to the mountain, the high place. You know, it's the abode of the gods, isn't it? The mountains, the tops, the heights, the heavens. But they go down to the sea. Oh dear, water. Oh my goodness. The creation, you see. It's the place of trouble, isn't it? Good and evil. Uncertainty, change. Oh, there's a hell of a storm. But he's the bread of life. He comes on the water. He's above the creation, you see. He walks on the water. He's spirit. He teaches Peter. Oh, there I go again. You see, it's hard not to add the details from the other Gospels, isn't it? But he doesn't mention Peter here. He just says he's walking on the sea. There's a storm. He gets into it, and the ship is at the land. Doesn't even bother to say he stills the storm. He just says everything was solved. It's not just a case of you're still at sea. No, you're on land. You're at the land. We're explaining the last miracle. Because you see, salvation is knowing God. If you receive the truth, you receive the understanding of God. That's what he's giving them on the mount. When he feeds 5,000 on the mountain, he's giving them the true food, you see. It's not that I will be translated. I am, because I've received. For salvation, life eternal, is knowing God, the true God, and the way to him, which is the understanding. And that's what Jesus is giving to the 5,000. We're not feeding them bread and fish. It's all symbolic. Remember, the fish can survive in water. Oh. It's a symbol of overcoming the elements, overcoming the creation. The bread, if you like, is the bread of life. I don't think we're thinking of bread. When we think of that, we think of the manna. The manna, the food in the wilderness that he sustains them on in the story there for 40 years. I mean, don't take it too literally. Or if you like, take it purely literally, which means utterly spiritually speaking. But whatever, look how this has trimmed down the story of Jesus on the water. I mean, the chat with Peter, and, it's still, and they're on the water still. No. We've gone from, there's a storm, he walks on the water, he gets in the boat, and the boat's at dry land. Bang. And that's what salvation is. Rescue is rescue, 100%. You're into the fifth mode, which is the reason for it all. God's ultimate purpose. Welcome to the kingdom of heaven. Thank you, Dad. And look, so often in this world, in this creation, you receive the truth, you receive enlightenment in the storm, in the great difficulties. Not always. You can, like Marshall, receive it in great joy. Oh, it's a bit unusual, or at least it seems unusual from the Christian experience. but not so unusual from the less Christian experience. Notice also that they go down to the sea in a boat. A boat sort of hovers between the sea and the air that you can breathe. In the sea, you'd need to be a fish. In the air, you can breathe. Well, you'd need to have food. There's not much food around unless you have fish, of course. Yeah. Okay. The storms are in the sea of creation, a mix of good and evil, life and death, constant contrasts and uncertainties and so on. And Jesus puts that all right, shifts you instantly to the land. To the firm ground. To that which you're made for. You're not made for the sea. You're made for the land. Thank you, Dad. Well, we get the rest of this chapter, and then the Feast of Tabernacles, which says it all, of course. You are in a strange place called the creation. You are tabernacling here, and you're at the risk of good and evil. You're not in a city, not in a walled place, not in a house, not at home. You're out in a makeshift tabernacle, tent. This creation is the wilderness, and in it you find tribulation until you are rescued by the grace. So we ploughed through chapter 7 as well. And chapter 8 goes through the harassment, the tribulations that you receive when you experience knowing the truth in this world, and the backlash that comes from the world, because this place is a continual battle between good and evil here. And you've sided with the good. Thank you, Dad.